All right, welcome back to another 830 RPG. Today we'll be doing a miniatures table run, a one shot using the same World of Dungeons engine, one page RPG. So I've already had the character laid out. Name is Sterling. He's a fighter, class level one. Skills include athletics, stealth, and then special abilities hardy and tough. These are the stats I rolled. Pretty pathetic. But with Hardy plus 6 extra hit point bonus, so I only have one hit die though. 2 armor with the stealth or with the class, and then longsword and light armor plus 1 on armor. Longsword is d6 plus 1 damage. So that is the character. He is a fighter, and this is our going to be our map. We have a little cabin here with some goblins in there. We have a little pond, some goblins working around some kind of device. And this takes place in the forest. Our character is on the edge of the map right here in the very corner. So let me walk over there and we'll get started. You might see my feet. So, okay, first let me move this out of the way. All right, our character is just right here. Now, let's walk over to this bush. Our character Sterling has been tasked by uh, a mayor of a local village, name unknown, to get rid of a certain goblin problem. There has been a little crew of goblins stealing merchandise and goods from this village, though very specific goods, goods that are in very differing materials like silver, alloy, steel, very specific items. Not like they're not stealing necessarily gold or silver pieces. They've been just stealing very specific items like tools, etc. So they haven't been stealing jewels, but more so like basically hardware. Now, we believe, the mayor believes that the goblins are in this region of the forest. And given this clue to Sterling, he is making his way and using his experience as an adventurer to solve this problem. So right now he is behind this area, behind these bushes, and what we're going to roll to see if he can hear anything. So one mistake I made in my last video of the latest episode for Misfortune, I was rolling a few times the rolling the dice rules. I did not include my damn attributes bonuses to any of them. I was strictly rolling raw, and I completely forgot when I posted the video. I'm like, God dang it! So what I'm gonna do is just try to remember that from now on. Even though my character doesn't have much bonuses to consider, he's fairly pathetic, but he does have a lot of HP, so that's good. So I'm trying to figure out if this roll. I want to see if he hears anything in the area nearby. This will really dictate if the goblins are relatively quiet, if they're even there, or if they're busy at work doing whatever they're doing. Now, what we got to do is figure out if this is going to be a trait, an attribute roll, or just a standard oracle question. I'm going to think it's just a standard oracle question. He's not trying to like hear around, like he's not really focusing. He's fairly battle ready at the moment, keeping his senses at his heightened senses at the ready. So let's roll a d10, and we're going to roll to see if he hears anything. And I'm going to say there is a, we'll do 50-50 on this one. Even though I have the pieces set, I'm going to say 50% chance he hears goblins. So let me put the tray here. 50% chance and 46. So he does indeed, though barely, hears some chatter. Some goblins are talking amongst themselves, though it's just chatter to him. Does our character understand? I believe it's called. What is the language they speak? I'm going to say Goblish. I totally forgot. And I think it's just Goblin, but I'm going to say Goblish just for the humor of it. Does he understand? We'll do 50-50% chance he understands Gobblish. 24, he does actually understand Gobblish. And he is only able to make out a few words. He's hearing them speak about some strange device that is that they're working on, basically. That's all he really picks up. So he's going to now try to uh, get a sight of what he hears. This is the area of interest. Our character is going to walk around these bushes, and now he is stationed right here. If you guys can see him off camera, there we go. Now, kind of what the camera sees is what he is able to see. He sees this tree ahead of him, and I think he's going to attempt to sneak by, though he's a fighter, so he doesn't exactly have, he does have a dexterity and athletics, but that might actually might actually work out well. Now, the goblins, are they still chatting? Let's say 65% chance. They are, and actually they're starting to argue a bit, though for some reason they seem to be arguing amongst themselves, which is really suspicious. Well, which is really interesting. So I'm going to say that Sterling is going to attempt to just peek around the bushes to see if he can. Well, let's first see if he can see straight through the bushes without exposing his presence to them. Let's say these bushes look really thick. I'm going to say 25% chance he can see through. 50. Yeah, he can't see anything. The bushes are way too thick. They need to be trimmed. So he's going to now have to. He's going to decide if he wants to go this way or if he wants to go this way. There is a space between these bushes here. Perhaps he can cut around, or he can go hide behind this big tree. So let's figure out which way he wants to go. I think he wants to go. The smart way would be perhaps going this way because from what he's seeing, let's let's see if he can peek around and get a notice of the. This might be a dexterity roll, a sneak. What specialties we got? We got stealth. This is a stealth roll. We're gonna do it to see if he can uh, with advantage. So 6 or less is a partial success. I need 2d. Let's see, 2d6s. We need to see if he can peek around without getting noticed. So we have to roll a 6 or 7 or more to really succeed in this roll. And my modifier, which I'll have to consider this time, is 1. So whatever I roll plus 1. Here we go. Okay, so 5, and of course a 6 total with my bonus dexterity. And the stealth, because it's stealth, it is going to be, if you're a skill, you can't miss. So a roll of 6 or less has a partial success with a bigger compromise. So there is a compromise. We are able to see the goblins in the distance, though there is a compromise. And that compromise is going to be our characters in pretty much most of my campaign's worst enemy, a twig. He steps on a twig, and there's a loud crunch. And with that loud crunch, I'm going to say that one of these goblins potentially hears that crunch. Now, does the goblin hear it? We have to now roll to see if the goblin hears the crunch. It's fairly good distance away, maybe 20 yards, I'd say. Let's see, with the tiles, we have 5, 10, 15, let's see, I'm trying to figure this out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet away. Okay, does the goblin hear? I'm going to say, well, they're arguing. They're yelling at the top of their lungs, not exactly being um, civil. So I'm going to say 30% or 25% chance he hears the twig. It's so. I tell you what, 20% chance. They're shouting. The twig is cartoonishly loud though, so 20% chance that and you got to be two. Yep, he hears the twig. You got to be kidding me. 2%. He instantly hears the twig. He's like twig, and he's starting to look around and look around. And while does he see? He's alerted now. We rolled to see if he's alert, and now he's alerted. Does he catch? Does he see Sterling from around the bush here? So what we have to do is move the camera back to our event focus. And is Sterling able to jump back behind the bushes? Though now the goblin is alert. I'm gonna say the time that he sits on the twig. He's a fighter, not the dumbest character, but probably not the smartest. Though I'd say he's gonna be quick on his feet. So he's gonna jump back after hearing the twig. He looks down, looks up. The goblin's about to turn, and I say 60% chance the goblin catches him, looking basically. So let's roll. 84. Okay, good, good, good. So Sterling is able to jump back from the twig, but now this goblin's alerted. So this goblin is going to walk. These two stop talking. Well, let's roll for that. Do these two stop talking? Are they still arguing among themselves? Because the real question is, if the argument was a a trio, all three of them arguing amongst each other, or specific two that were disagreeing on how this machine operates, perhaps. So let's roll to see if it's mainly these two that are arguing. Maybe one of these is the boss. So 75% chance. Yep. So 16. This third goblin wasn't exactly part of the conversation. He is just bronze. So he's going to slowly walk towards the noise that he heard. He's just kind of walking very suspiciously, weapon drawn, and Sterling sees the incoming, and now he's going to circle back and squeeze through the bushes. I don't think we need to roll for that. He can probably squeeze it just enough. And then the goblin is getting closer. He stops right here. He's looking around, and then Sterling is now between these two bushes. So he's stuck between a leaf and a branch. I'd say that at this moment we have to figure out what the goblin's going to do. And I think Sterling is simply waiting for the goblin to go back, perhaps. Now, suddenly, does anything happen at this moment? Let's say 50-50 chance. Yep, something, wow, that's a 98. Something indeed happens. There is a loud boom, not an explosion, but a noise, a loud boom, and there's a huge tremor in the ground, which I'm going to steal from the Misfortune series. The machine suddenly catches fire, and the goblins jump back like this. They jump back. This goblin that straight off is running back to his group, and now they're yelling at each other like, "What exactly happened? What did we do wrong?" They're yelling, and then there's a guard posted just outside this little cabin. He turns around and he's looking at the fire. This thing is on fire now. Meanwhile, our friend is right here, and this is going to possibly be a complication or an advantage. So the real issue here is now that this pond this is a pond, and then the machine that we're looking at is on fire. It's causing the attraction of all the goblins, all four of them in the area, to look at the fire. So now their sight is set up, is in the direction of where Sterling possibly was going to circle around, catch him from behind. But now he sees the fire. The goblins are looking at the fire, and I don't really think they see him per se. But let's go back to Sterling. I think now he's going to go reroute back to where he was originally facing. So he's going to walk back to this side. The goblins are busy. Perhaps they're trying to put it out. So let's say, are the goblins trying to put out the fire? Let's say 80% chance. Yep, they are. So they are grabbing dirt. One is getting water with a little cup or like a little bucket. These two are idiots who are trying to blow on the fire. This one's throwing dirt at it. They're pretty stupid, and I think the smartest one is gonna be this one, the boss. He's trying to get a bucket of water and put the fire out. Meanwhile, that is more a helpful situation unintentionally for our character Sterling. He's going to quickly dash behind the tree now. So this is gonna be a stealth and athletic. It's a skill which will cause us to roll 2d6, and his dexterity is a +1 as athletic roll. So we have either 6 or less as a partial success again. Okay, so we have to dash. Nice, 7. So either way, plus the 1 and modifier 8. So 8. He successfully. That's just a regular success. There's nothing special about it. That's a regular success. He's gonna dash and hide behind this tree. You guys can't see underneath the camera, but he's now underneath the tree. The goblins are. Is the fire getting worse or is the fire contained? So 50-50% chance. More than 50, the fire is contained. I'm sorry, I should probably switch that. 50% chance the fire is contained at this point. Let's say the goblin is throwing water. The boss is throwing water at the fire. These two are panicking. They're not sure what to do. Um, this one is still trying to kick dirt at it pretty hilariously. Does anything happen at this point? I have an idea. Yep, 50% chance. So one of the goblins from inside the cabin jumps out and he freaks out. He says, "What did you guys do to the machine?" So now there's five goblins. One popped out of the cabin, hearing what's been going on. Now, is the fire contained? I'm gonna say 40% chance because I mean a bucket of water, some kickstand, and two panicking goblins, not exactly an advantage. So 40% chance. Nope, it is not contained. It is actually getting worse. The fire is practically surrounding the entire device, and uh, this is huge for our character. This is huge for Sterling. He's now going to let's focus over here now, right off the map, right off the side of the map. He's going to, um, sorry, there we go. Uh, get right behind, I think, and this is tough because we have five bandits, and he's right here behind the tree, hiding behind the tree. Um, he's basically like uh, standing against the tree, and I gotta figure out what would be the best course of action here because the goblins are busy with that machine. And I think even if he were to attack, it'd be 5 against 1, which is a huge disadvantage for, though he is a fighter. But I don't think it'd be a good move to just attack at this point. We could ask the Oracle, does he attack? Or do the goblins try to do something? Or they're simply just panicking at this point. So, man, this is tough. I'm going to say that because his mission, his objective is to just either defeat the goblins, kill them, or scare them off. This fire is a real conundrum for the story because the device was the central focus for the goblins. Apparently, it's just like it's just here. These are why the goblins are here. This is the reason why they're here. This machine, whatever it's doing. So they built this machine, they crafted it, and it was supposed to be doing something for them. It was obviously valuable for them, but now it's caught in the flames. So I'm going to say that while Sterling is playing it patient, he's waiting, he's playing it smart. The goblins, let's roll to see if anything happens. Does anything happen? 50%. Yeah, something does happen. So the machine is starting to crumble apart. The fire, it's all made of wood, different materials, but mainly the wood's catching fire. And it's it's falling, it's just crumbling, burning apart. And now these two are they're still panicking. They're trying to kick sand, looking at what their colleague is doing. The boss is like, "This is a waste. Burnt our machine." He's pissed off, and while he's going back getting more water, this guy is just laughing. So this goblin's just laughing his ass off, while the machine is practically burnt to a crisp. The water starts to turn a strange color, starts to turn red. So the water, for some reason, is now turning red, and the goblins see this, and the boss freaks out. He steps back. The um, these two goblins see the lake turning, the pond turning red. The one laughing just kind of looks and observes. This one who was kicking sand earlier kind of steps to the side and sees the pond turning red. And I think Sterling, he doesn't exactly notice, but perhaps he's going to. You guys can't see him. I'm sorry. Sterling is right. He's right here. Yeah, he's right here. So he's going to step to the side and see. Can he see the pond turning red? I'd say a 60% chance. 72. He can't exactly see. Perhaps there's a pile of leaves, or there's like a bump in elevation around the pond. He can't. The pond is kind of like it's sloped in, so he can't simply see what they're looking at. But he notices um, that the goblins are now looking at the pond. So the machine is burnt to a crisp. So that's kind of out of the story. But Sterling is still kind of trying to figure out what to do. But I think he's trapped this point because he can't go back left. Now the goblins are all sight or sit on the lake, which is intriguing him for some reason. Now we got to roll to see if there's a chance to perhaps distract the goblins. So here's what we're gonna do. Sterling has a chance to attack. He can take out two at a time while throwing a rock first. So Sterling is gonna take a rock on the floor or on the ground. He's gonna pick it up and toss it all the way towards the cabin if he can. He's gonna try to toss it all the way over here and yeah, hit these little crates and these things leaning against the wall. Try to throw a rock. So let's throw a rock. This is going to be a athletic related roll. So partial success automatically if it's below if it's 6 or less, but it's athletics. And then this I think this is more of a strength check. So +1 on a roll. Okay, let's see what happens. All right, show me the money. 5, perfect. So 6, that's 7. He successfully throws a small sized rock all the way towards it and hits the side of the building. Now the goblins. So we rolled basically to see if he can perform that action. Now we have to roll for the reaction. Does this goblin hear the pebble? I'm sorry, the rock. And I say the 80% chance because now the fire's kind of um, the fire is basically uh, fizzling out. Let's say 80% chance. Yep, he does. So this goblin turns over here. He's like, what was that? What was that? This goblin, did he hear the rock? 70% chance what the rock is cooking. Look at that. I rolled a perfect I gotta re-roll for that actually. Yep, he did. So this goblin heard. He's like, what was that? What was that? And then but this goblin, I say 60% chance. He's a little closer. He's just kind of behind the building. Yep, he did hear it, barely heard it. He's like, what was that? Must have been the wind. So these three are now focused on they're kind of staring over here. They have the weapons drawn, and they're like they're shouting for whoever's over there to show themselves. While these two, did they hear the rock? I'm gonna say 25% chance. They did not. So they're walking. They're kind of really intrigued. Whoops! I bumped the tree. The tree's alive. It's gonna kill everybody. They're really intrigued by this red blood-looking color in the pond. So they walk closer. Obviously not close to the fire. They walk closer to the lake. So here's where the Sterling's gonna pop around the corner, and he's going to draw his weapons. He's going to draw his weapon out, and we're going to have our first encounter with World of Dungeons, I think, actually. There we go. Yep, there we go. Okay, he's going to attack. So he's going to straight up maybe throw what we have here. We don't have any daggers. I didn't buy a dagger. I did use a system where you have to buy your weapons at the creation process. So I have zero coins left. I just have a longsword. He's going to pull his longsword out and rush towards the first goblin, trying to slay him while rushing. And he dies. Sorry, thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to comment, subscribe. Um, let's put this guy right here. He's going to slice at the first goblin, and this is going to be a stealth advantage roll, though the heavy armor is a subtraction possibly. So I'm going to say let's roll for an attack. We'll worry about damage here in a second. This is going to be athletic strength. I'd say it's either strength or dexterity together. Let's do +2. So it's an athletic related attack. So 6 or less will be partial success. Okay, so let's roll +2 bonus on this one because they both combined strength and dexterity. Oh my gosh, so barely. Well, okay, no, 4 and 2 bonus, 5, 6, but it's a partial success because it's a athletic skill related roll. He strikes the head off the first goblin, though the next one immediately turns around and looks and stares at sees Sterling rushing in, and he pulls his weapon out. Sterling goes in for an attack, but it blocks. They have a clash, and Sterling was hoping if I rolled a 7 higher, I would have maybe injured this one while killing the first goblin. If I rolled the perfect, the perfects are let's see what's the perfect roll. 12 or more is critical success with some extra benefit. If I got a 12 or more, I would have killed them both in one slice. So now these guys are in a clash and they're fighting. So now we have to do a strength roll to see if we can overpower this first goblin. While these guys are busy over here, I'm going to move them a little closer to uh, the event horizon. So we have to do a roll to see. This will be a strength to see if we can overpower. So +1 modifier bonus on this roll. Okay, here we go. We do a 7. We're able to overpower him. We push him back into the fire. Now, is the fire still is there still enough fire to burn the goblin, basically? We push him towards the fire. We just full force just push the goblin into the burning device, whatever it is, a machine. And let's see, is it still burning? 35% chance after this time of, after this amount of time. 35% chance. I'm hoping it is. Oh my gosh, 34%. The fire is still burning, though not severely. It catches the goblin. Uh, the goblin does catch on fire. Now the severity of the fire, is the goblin going to fully catch on fire or just part of his clothes? Let's say 65% chance. Oh my gosh, I rolled a 2. He is bursting in flames. He's running around. He's running and he jumps into the pond. And now we'll get to him in a second. He's now in the water, potentially putting the fire out. But these goblins, do they hear the commotion behind them? I'm going to say 80% chance. Let's roll for this one first. 80% chance he notices. He hears. 41, he does. He turns around. He yells intruder. And because of that, yelling intruder, or human or whatever, these two take notice. We don't have to roll for them. They turn around, and now there's 3 against 1. And yelling. Now, does the goblin inside, if you guys didn't notice, there's a goblin inside. Did he hear intruder, human? Let's say there's a window on the side here. The door is probably cracked open a bit. I would say 45% chance. He doesn't. He is busy reading a book or doing whatever he's doing. So he's completely unaware of the situation. This goblin in here, does something happen to this goblin? Let's say 75% chance. Yep. So this goblin, because he catches in the flames, the entire pond catches on fire. And now it's just a burning inferno. The fire spreads throughout the entire pond because of whatever red strange liquid got released and mixed into the pond. There's, leaves, frogs, and all, kind of a typical pond in fantasy. It catches on fire. And because this is a forest, not the best ideal situation. So this goblin is dead. Uh, let's say, well, okay, let's roll to see if he's dead. I'd say 90% chance he's dead. You never know. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, 65, I think. Yep, 65. He is dead. Okay. Took a little bit. These goblins, they see our character. They see Sterling, and Sterling is right here. He's standing ready to fight. He knows he has his odds against him. Though, does he have a trick up his sleeve? Let's see what we have. We don't have any equipment whatsoever. We already threw a rock. I'm going to say that uh, he's going to quickly grab the weapon of the goblin behind him. He's going to pick it up, and then he finds where's my pencil at? He finds the goblin had a. Let's see. I have a few items here on the dungeon sheet. He finds a. Oh, interesting. Does he find a useful item? Let's say 75% chance. He does. He finds a fire oil. So he finds basically a flask, fire oil flask. So he finds fire oil. I'm going to add that to his inventory. And does he find anything else? 40% chance. I'm more thinking about the weapon itself. Nope, he doesn't find anything else. The weapon, yeah, he doesn't find anything else, which is strange. Actually, I'm going to re-roll for that. He does find a weapon, but is the weapon, because that goblin had a weapon, so that's 100% chance that he has a weapon. So he finds a dagger. I was going to say that. I got to correct myself on that roll. He finds a dagger, which is a D4, I think. D4. No, it's a D6. It's a light weapon. Okay, while that's happening, he finds the flask. These goblins are they rushing him or are they walking towards him, trying to intimidate him? They're pulling their weapons out, shouting. trying to look all tough, I'd say 50% chance they rush him. They do rush him. That's not good. So 40. They start rushing him, and quickly it took him a second. So 10 between the 10% difference, 50 to 40. I'd say they started walking. Now they're rushing all at once. He's going to turn to the right and quickly throw that fire flask, oil flask, whatever. After the fire oil, he's going to throw it into them. I don't know the science to this, but we have to roll for it. Does it catch fire? So let's roll to see if he can throw this. This is going to be a athletic check because he's throwing it. So plus dexterity. It could be strength. I'm going to say strength. So plus one bonus on this roll with a skill. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is huge. It is 12 successful. He successfully, with the bonus, the plus one. 12 is a critical success. He throws it with some extra benefit. The fire, the thing just magically explodes, engulfing these three in flames. And now they're all on fire. They're running around, shouting, screaming. They're all on fire, kind of running in separate directions. Okay, that was pretty gruesome. Now, do they all die? But we have to roll for that. So, this one, does he die from being on fire? We're saying 85% chance. He does. He dies. He dies over here after burning. Kind of his hand is raising up. He's like, and he's burning down to he's just burnt to a crisp. This goblin here, he's trying to go towards the building, and that does intrigue Starling. He's like, why is he going towards the building? There's something in there. There's someone in there. But does he survive? Let's say 80% chance again. He doesn't. He collapses forward and he falls on his back. He collapses and rolls back on his back. So his hand, yeah, he's dead. This guy, I think this was the boss. I don't remember. So I'm gonna give him a little advantage. Um, he's probably the toughest of the crew. He's walking slowly towards the water, perhaps thinking the same thing as this other goblin to jump into the water. Does he survive? Does he get there in time? I'm gonna say with being on fire, 40% chance. Does he get into the pond? He doesn't. He just falls short. His hand probably dips into the water. He's dead. So we use an oil flask, if I use that correctly in fantasy terms, to basically to kill these goblins. Now the fire, it's spreading from the pond. I'm going to say 80% chance. It is spreading from the pond, though that is not a big difference. It's starting to spread towards the trees over here. I'd say these trees are starting to catch fire, and that's not good. That's not good at all. I don't think that was actually the fault of the goblins. So Sterling didn't exactly cause that. Now the goblin inside, I'm going to say that Sterling is slowly walking up to the door, and remember he has a dagger too. And we can wield both dagger, maybe wield it as a secondary weapon, allowing to reroll damage for the once per attack. Martial weapon, which is my longsword. Okay, and then he's walking towards the door. He steps over this dead goblin. The goblin in here, does he see anything? Does he hear anything related to a fire? I'm going to say he's really fixated on something. I say 25% chance he sees probably the light from the fire peeking through the sun, peeking through the window. 75. What was I? No, he doesn't. So he's still very fixated on whatever he's doing in there. Is he reading a book? Perhaps I'm going to say 85%. I mean, there is a bookshelf right behind him. 85% chance. Yeah, he's just reading a book. So he's reading some kind of book related to the machine, perhaps. Perhaps it's a book of arcana, or it's just it's a book about magic or dark magic. So Sterling is gonna think twice. He's gonna circle here. He sees the fire. He's trying to be really quick. He's gonna peek through the window, and does he see? Does he see the goblin from the window? I'm gonna say 95% chance. He does. He sees the goblin, and then he's now gonna go towards the door, and he's going to knock on the door. He knocks 3 times. Like, he does that. The goblin, 90% chance the goblin turns around and answers the door. Yep. Oh my gosh, he doesn't. Like, it's 90% chance. That's a 95 or 90? 90%. He doesn't answer the door. So the fire's getting closer. Does the goblin notice the fire now? Or is he so fixed on it? I'm going to say 60% chance. He doesn't. He's still fixing on that book. But because he's reading the book, let's roll something happens. All right. The goblin starts reading something from the book, and he's reciting a spell. So this is obviously a mage or some of some sorts. He started to recite something from the book. When he reads it, does anything happen? Let's say 75% chance. 8, something indeed happens. The book just lights come, a ray of light bursts out of the book, shoots up into the air, straight through the roof, and then it starts to levitate. And now the goblin's freaking out. He steps back, knowing that he just did something, and now the book is starting to shake. And I think the goblin, the mage, or whoever that is, um, while Sterling is here, does he see the bursting of light from the roof? I'm going to say 95% chance he does. Yep, he does. He sees the light. He steps back. This goblin, does the goblin freak out and run away? Like, did he mess up? Did he do something stupid with some weird ancient book? I'm going to say these goblins have been pretty disorganized. I mean, they built this weird machine here to do whatever it does, but they are relatively disorganized. So I'm going to say 65% chance he cowards out and runs out the door to perhaps just look up into the air to see what he's caused. So let's roll. 65% chance. He does. He freaks out. He runs outside. He opens the door, and there's Sterling. He sees Sterling. Sterling standing there like this, and the mage, or again, I'm just maybe it's a regular goblin with just a magic book, but you know he had to say a spell. Again, I'm gonna just leave it at that. He sees his dead comrades all over, and he starts yelling and cursing in Goblish. Um, and now he sees Sterling. He's about to attack. Let's say he's going to throw. He has a spear, so he's going to run up and start. He's going to run up and strike um, with his not a spear. I'm sorry. What do you call that? What do staff? He's going to run and swing his staff at Sterling. Does Sterling able to dodge? So because we saw this coming, Sterling is going to use an athletics bonus to try to dodge this attack. Okay, let's roll. So we have to roll 6 or basically a 6 essentially, or anything really. Nice. Even with the bonus, so 7, 8 plus the bonus of this is dexterity, so 7, 8, 9 plus the athletics. So 9 is a 9 is a just a partial success, but now it's a considered a full success. He dodges out of the way. He jumps. He takes his dagger and tries to stab the goblin into the stomach. Let's just try to roll that. That will be. Let's see. Is he able to stab the goblin into the stomach? This is a strength check for melee. We'll use the dagger. Actually, that's not melee. That's a weapon. So is he able to do it? We're gonna roll. It's kind of like an attack roll. Is he able to strike the goblin? Okay, let's just roll. He is 10. He's able to strike. 10 is a. Let's see. Camera check. Make sure it's recording. So I'm not really looking at my screen. 10 or more is a full success without complications. We strike the goblin into the stomach, and I'm going to say, without rolling for damage, does the goblin start bleeding out? Is he able to continue fighting? Let's say 50-50. 50% chance he's able to continue fighting. He is, what is that? 64. He's not. He got him right into the gut. He falls down on his knee, and he's panting. He's bleeding out, coughs out blood. That was a hell of a stab. And the goblin is still, though, what did we just roll? He's able to keep fighting. He's not able to keep fighting. The Sterling takes his longsword, and he's going to ask, "What were you guys doing out here?" While this goblin is unable to fight. Is he able to persuade him to tell him? This would be charisma. We're gonna roll. He just wants to know what they were doing out here, so he yells with the dagger next to the goblin's neck. What were you guys doing out here? What? While the fire is spreading. Is the fire still spreading? Let's roll 95% chance. It is, yeah. The fire is practically probably engulfing most of the forest at this point, especially if it's global warming involved. um, so the dry forest. Ours is not exactly a rainy season. Um, so he does he convince? Is he able to force like an interrogation similar type of role? Charisma plus 1 bonus. Though I don't think this is a specialty of his. Yeah, let's just say this is just a bonus plus 1. Let's roll. Oh my gosh, 10 plus 11 or plus 1, so that's 11. A 10 or more is full success. He's able to get information out of the goblin before. Well, we'll see if he finishes him off. The goblin explains that we were trying to poison the water supply to rid of the pesky villagers nearby that keep trying to get us. Something like that. They're basically trying to kill. They're basically trying to work on this experiment for their kind to poison the water, which apparently it might have already succeeded on, though it went wrong. The machine caught fire. He's saying we were stealing from the village nearby for parts. Reason is to try to make a new device for ongoing war against the humans, etc. So they were just basically trying to make something for the wartime. And now, while the knife is tight against the goblin's neck, the big book, the book of magic, the book that shot up the spell book that shot up the light, is it still shooting at that light into the sky? Let's roll 50-50 on this one, 50% chance. It's not. So no longer the book is now on the table flat, and there's like smoke coming out of it, like it was an attack or something. It was like a beam of light, magic missile, whatever. And then Sterling asked, what was that? What was that blast of light out of the roof? And let's roll to see if he can do charisma on this one again. He asked him that question. He's not going to answer. The goblin's like, I've told you enough. And then I say that Sterling is going to just slice his neck, just going to cut him, and he collapses and he cuts his neck and he dies. So that is it for the goblins. Now Sterling is it has the fire engulfed the cabin. Let's say, I mean there is bushes over here, grass, 75% chance. Yep, the fire has engulfed the building, so that the mystery of that book has been just engulfed in flames now. So this entire area is burning. Sterling sees this, and he's going to quickly try to loot, perhaps, this mage. And he's thinking that this guy, Sterling doesn't know that this is the boss right here. That this guy that died is, a character of interest. He knows that this character is of some interest because he was inside and he bursted out with that big blast of light. So perhaps there's something interesting here. So he loots. He quickly picks through the pockets of this dead goblin. Does he find anything of value? Let's say 70% chance. He does actually find something pretty decent in volume, and that's going to be. Is it going to be a? Let's see. I have fancy items. We have occult items. Let's say it's an occult item. All right. Isn't it a valuable occult item? It is. So it's going to be let's see. I have a quick pouch of bone dust. Oh, veil of holy water. Interesting. No, veil of blood, ritual incense, and oils. He finds the ritual. I'm gonna say a vial of holy water. So he's gonna add that to his inventory. The vial of holy water. A veil. Sorry, vial of holy water. There we go. Just adding that to my inventory. All right, there we go. So the cabin's in flames and the fire is catching out of control. Sterling's back, yep, and he's gonna bolt because he pretty much has completed his mission, but the side effect of the mission was that the whole forest, this part of the forest is catching on fire. Now, just for story's sake, does the fire um, get out of control and burn the whole forest down? I'm gonna say 35% chance on that. Maybe that's just the one section of the forest. It doesn't. This fire only pretty much engulfs this entire area for some reason. And though the mystery of the device perhaps is not able to reach, the goblin did not speak of it, because all that Sterling sees is that burning device burned to a crisp. So that mystery is still unsolved. But at this point, we are pretty much concluded. He was able to defeat the goblins, though the device, because of my narrative skills, caught fire and we weren't able to really interpret anything else. And then we were able to just get a few details from this goblin regarding what they were doing here. And again, I was tripping on my description of that, but basically, the goblins were there trying to work on an experiment with this device. And in the meantime, this goblin was taking an interest of a spell book, and he accidentally summoned the spell by reciting it, which caused a burst of a magic missile through the ceiling of this little cabin. But that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time on this. And again, this was a one shot. I don't plan on continuing this, but it was indeed fun to again use miniatures after making X amount of videos with just pen and paper. So it was interesting to bring these miniatures back out. So, but as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on 830 RPG.